Hello, you're listening to the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. My name is Reichen Young, president of the Acting Company for Excellence and host of the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast. Today we are talking to Miss Sara Egelston Akers. Miss Sara founded Plano Children's Theater and has made the company grow from a small theater in Plano to a family of theaters covering the North Dallas area. Until she recently retired, Miss Sara was the vice president of the Community Outreach and responsible for NTPA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Program and member development. Welcome, Miss Sara!
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here. Oh my goodness, it's such an amazing thing to meet you. And speaking on behalf of NTPA students, we appreciate all you've done for us and the organization. Thank you for your years of service.
Well, it's been my pleasure. It's been a blessing.
So let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to found Plano's Children's Theater? And did you ever imagine your work would become the foundation for NTPA?
Well, I was doing a show of The Wizard of Oz at Grace Presbyterian Church, and in Tech Week, which everybody wants to kill each other, right? Because you're putting all the things together, the lights and the sound and the costumes and interest, and it's a very stressful week. And even in the middle of that week, everybody said to me, "Well, what are we going to do next?" And so I looked around, and there wasn't a training program up here at all, or actually any place in Dallas that was what I was thinking about. And that was kind of the start. They let us hold rehearsals at Grace Presbyterian Church, and we were there for 2 years. And then we got our first rehearsal space in 1994, and we thought that was some pretty big magic. And the first theater a couple years after that, and then in 2008 we moved over and got an additional 8,000 square feet. And it's been wonderful, and a lot of times very difficult and challenging, but it has really been a blessing to my life. Wow. And no, I never thought it would get this big. It was, and it's always been one at a time. It's always been helping another child get learn and grow on stage, and it just has grown from people wanting that for more children. And so our patrons, the city of McKinney called me and asked me to come up to McKinney, and so that's how our McKinney Youth Theater program started, and that later went down to Fairview and become Fairview. And then we had people living in Frisco who didn't want to drive down to Plano anymore, and so they said, "Well, we'll help you find a place. We'll bring you students." And so that's how the Frisco program. That's how the Dallas program started.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, inclusion, equity, and diversity is critical to the NTPA mission, and you've helped weave those values into the fabric of our organization, which led to the formation of Starcatchers. Tell us more about that program.
The Starcatcher program started in 1995. Before I started Plano Children's Theater, I worked at the Lamplighter School in Dallas, which is a private school, and I had a child there. His first name was David, and he was, he was neurodivergent, and he loved coming into the theater room, and he was actually really good. And so when I started Plano Children's Theater, I was like, I want a class for David. And so it was really, just like I was saying before, it was one child. We needed to have a class where he could be the star, and that's how it started. I mean, and it's just, it's grown because, people have told other people about it. And the City of Plano Recreation Department, they have a therapeutic arts program. They helped promote it for many, many years. And it's really grown to be this very big program. And I saw their show this past week, and it was incredible. They were singing, dancing, the whole thing. And I think the exciting thing about going to see the shows is not only to see the wonderful work that's happening on stage, but to look out in the audience and to see the parents, to see that their child, no matter how old you are, just hear it from me, you're always going to be their child.
Yes.
They're getting to see their child have this experience that, everybody else gets to have. But they're getting to be Sandy, and they're getting to be, Rizzo and Kanicki and Danny. So our mission is to make the arts available to all, and that's a part of our mission.
Yes, and you certainly have done it, and it's just so amazing.
Thank you, dear.
You also value community outreach when it comes to NTPA. Why is it important to let people know what is happening here?
I think the arts are it's transformative. I mean, I think there's something very powerful. I know. I could ask you guys, and you could tell me of many experiences you've had that have really changed your life.
Absolutely.
And to become intimately involved with a work like Les Mis or Shakespeare. I mean, it's so much different than just reading it in a book or watching it in a movie, but to be involved with it and then singing with other people. That experience should be enjoyed by all. We're making our programs available. We're inviting people to come in. We're going to places where people that might not know of us and invite them to come to the party. Mm-hmm. That's the right thing to do.
Now, NTPA has established the Sara Egelston Akers Legacy Fund, which provides support for NTPA's needs-based scholarships. Why do you think it's important that scholarships like these exist for kids?
Because not everybody has the financial wherewithal to be in our program. It's it's expensive for us to do, mm-hmm. and we have to charge tuition to be able to do it, but not everybody can do it. So setting up this fund is going to be an endowment so that, to be my dream is that endowment would grow so large someday that anybody and everybody who wants to come be in a show can come be in a show, and we don't have to worry about whether or not we're going to have the money to pay a director or not, or the royalty. So that's the goal, and it's my hope that people will support that mission and that initiative to donate to that fund.
Now, what advice would you give to students who want to pursue theater as a career?
Cross-train.
Ooh.
Make sure that you can do something else, because it's a very difficult career. The eye of the needle of someone who's actually going to be able to make a living on stage is very small. And so, to make sure that you learn, how to write and to communicate to others, because those things you'll be able to do no matter what. And you'll use all the skills that you learned being a part of this program of talking to people and looking at them in the eye and learning how to communicate and how how it is when you're in a play, right? And something goes wrong.
Yes.
You've got to immediately respond to that and pick up whatever it is, fill it in. It's the success of the production. It rests on everybody. And if everybody does their part, you're going to have a wonderful experience. Everybody wins.
Wonderful. And now, Miss Sara, it's time for the quick questions, where we ask every guest the same 5 quick questions. You must answer every question quickly and without explanation. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 1, what was the name of the first show you performed?
It was I was Ophelia.
Ooh. What is your favorite role?
I would like to be Mama in Gypsy.
Ooh. What is your dream role?
I would like to be the Teapot.
Oh, yes.
And Beating the Beast.
And what is your favorite candy?
M&M's.
Yes, I love M&M's. Alrighty. Thank you so much, Miss Sara, for talking with us on the Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast.
I want to tell you one more story.
Okay.
While we're here, okay? So when we first got our first rehearsal studios, it was 2,000 square feet in the back of a shopping center over there at 15th and Custer.
Okay.
I mean, you had to really want to come to us because you couldn't see us from the street either way, mm-hmm. and we were literally in the back corner. And, my mom and dad gave the first $1,500 to start Plano Children's Theater. And so we got all the incorporation, and we'd gotten the place to rehearse over at the church, and we'd spent all this money on promoting, and then my mother's cancer came back. And so they said, you just got to take her home and take care of her. And so we literally had all these papers that we were going to start in the fall of 91, and we literally just threw everything away. So that had burned up half of the $1,500.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and so then my mama passed in October, but the last time I talked to her, she said to me, promise me that you're going to start that children's theater. And I promised her. And, of course, I think she was worried about, I think she could see in the future and see probably that I was going to have to be raising my son on my own. And that was right. And I think she was thinking about financially, that I was going to be able to take care of us. But what she didn't think about just how wonderful this place has been. I've gotten to work with these just incredible artists. They're just so dedicated, and they want each child to shine, and they're willing to help make that happen. And then you have these wonderful parents who have their children in our program who take this creative vision of a director and help it come to life on stage. And they don't just want you guys to be good, their kids to be good, their own child. They also want everybody in the whole show. And that is such a wonderful feeling. That's not the way it is every place. There's this whole really a team spirit here. And of course, working with young people. It has really been such a joy. I mean, to work with you on a journey of, reading the script and bring it to life and hearing those first, songs, the song rehearsals, music rehearsals, and then, all the way into it is really quite magical. And no matter what you could have had the most terrible day, being there is really just a wonderful adventure for a director. And I think it's interesting that we would be having this discussion in the costume room. My father built my first costume room.
Wow.
Yeah. My dad was a surgeon, Dr. James R. Egelston, and he built the first costume room. And my son, Joshua Akers, got his first kiss underneath the costume racks. Underneath the costume racks.
Well, there you go.
The old space. So it was a wonderful place to raise him as well. And he was a student here too. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming with us and talking with us.
Well,
we
thank
appreciate
you for doing
it so much.
This is very kind of you, and I know your time is very valuable, and I really appreciate you doing this.
And until next time, I'm Reichen Young. Remember, you always have a winning hand with an ace up your sleeve.
Oh, I love that.
The Ace Up Your Sleeve podcast is brought to you by the students of the Acting Company for Excellence at North Texas Performing Arts. This podcast was created by Reichen Young, with sound design and editing by Latham Young. Faculty supervision is provided by Hannah Brewer. NTPA is a nonprofit organization dedicated to developing the character of youth through quality performing arts education and family entertainment. Learn more about upcoming programs and events at ntpa.org.